There are shows with psychics.
And there are shows with doctors.
But there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
and street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight,
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
In tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street-smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic
and the Doc, and it starts now. The 12th show about Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And this is a very auspicious Friday the 13th. And as an FYI, every month that begins on a Sunday has a Friday the 13th. And tomorrow, November 13th, is the only Friday the 13th in the year 2020. And Friday the 13th has always been seen as a cursed or unlucky day, as if 2020 needed any help in that department.
Want to hear a news flash?
Absolutely.
11/11 is the only 11/11 in 2020.
Well, that would make sense because
Mark.
I'm sitting there thinking about that. Like, wait a second.
I got Mark.
Right,
Mark's like, what?
Well,
what?
Do you know why Veterans Day is 11/11? What happened is when World War I ended in 1918, the armistice was actually signed on November 11th, and one of the attachés to Marshal Foch, who was the supreme Allied commander, he was the head of the French military. They decided to do it the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour because they thought this would be the war to end all wars, which clearly it wasn't. But speaking of France, Friday the 13th also has its origins in France. And you know, Dr. Pat, how many times have you been in a high-rise building or a hotel and noticed that there's not a 13th floor?
Yeah, no kidding. I did notice that. I noticed that early on in New York, right? You know, I mean, were you the kind of kid? I was the kind of kid like that was so drawn to Friday the 13th that we would go place. I'd say, I got to go to the 13th. Take us to 13. And they'd be like, no, there's no 13. And I'm like, there's got to be 13. There's 13, Friday the 13th. Nobody ever explains that to kids. You know, they're like, they go in the elevator and they're looking and it's like 12, 14, right?
Yeah, where's 13? And many hotels, even on every floor, they don't have a 13 number for a room. And there's an actual phobia of Friday the 13th. And it's got two names. Paraskevi-decatriphobia is one of them, and Frigatriskaidekaphobia is the other one. They both mean the same thing, fear of Friday the 13th. But there is quite a bit more to a phobia than a fear. And Dr. Pat, could you give us a brief explanation of the difference between a fear and a phobia?
Yeah, let me explain it really the way I learned it as a kid. You know, fear is natural. It's powerful. It's even primitive. I mean, you know, think about it from, you know, all different ages, all different aspects of things. There's something we fear or feel, and there's a sense of it, an intuitive sense. The thing about fear is it's natural. And so I want to say that, you know, when people talk about fear that goes to a different place, that's when we start to talk about something different. You know, sometimes fear stems from real threats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to knock on doors, right? When I was like didn't have a job. So I used to knock on doors for I used to be the front person for selling vinyl siding right here in Seattle.
Okay.
And so all you got to do is go through one of those white picket fences once and knock on a door and have 100 and something pound Rottweiler
Yeah.
pin you up against the wall. Now, is that a good fear? Is that a natural fear? That's a natural fear. I mean, what do you learn from that? You learn, wait a minute, before you go through the gate of somebody's house that you're not even supposed to be on, there may be something there, right?
Right.
Did I get afraid of dogs? I didn't. I didn't. So it's powerful. But sometimes, right, fear can originate from imagined dangers. Imagined dangers. Friday the 13th, let's talk about it. Friday the 13th, the movie. Friday the 13th, the movie. You got to be kidding me. Come on. Friday the 13th. Forget about Halloween. But now we got this movie, Friday the 13th one. And so people, right, that watch that movie, or my all time, I am never going to be able to sleep again, Nightmare on Elm Street. Now,
Yes.
that fear, right? You go to bed, you watch Nightmare on Elm Street, you're afraid. Imagine dangers. The imagine danger with that, but it's very real for kids, right, that watch this stuff. But the imagined danger is for a year, you look under your bed. That's what you do. But then fear, and I just want to say this because this is something important. It can also be a symptom of some condition, a mental condition. It
Right.
could be part of a panic disorder. And I want to say this to folks out there right today. We may be joking a little bit about fear, but I will tell you there's nothing more real than a panic disorder or a social anxiety disorder or a phobia or a post traumatic stress disorder. And let me tell you what the phobia is right now. You ready to hear about it, Mark? If we could
Um,
for a minute.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Today, people have stayed in their homes. Some people have stayed in their homes for months.
Yes.
There is a real fear of being in public. Even the people that are out in public now are not out as much as they were. And there is a real fear. Are we in the phobia range yet? I think more to be revealed on that. But that is what we're talking about. There is a difference. I have a very dear friend. You guys know her. All you have to do is say the word needle, like an injection. Like, I'm going to the dentist. My dentist, I'm saying, I'm going to the dentist. I'm getting a lot of dental work. And you know what and I'm sitting there and I'm saying, you know what my dentist does? Dr. Chris Foley, she's really good. You know what she does? She got this really cool machine. And instead of you giving the one big needle, right, they give you these little pokes. And the next thing I know, I got to get a cold rag for my best friend's neck. That's a
Right.
phobia.
And exactly, because a phobia, it just seizes control of you. And like you said, your friend will break out into a sweat. It is in, and people who've stayed in their homes, they have a germophobia. And phobias are paralyzing. It's like I always loved in the Indiana Jones series how he's afraid of snakes. He's got a phobia of snakes. So here's this big, tough, adventurer, macho guy, and he's terrified of snakes. People are terrified of heights. Claustrophobia. People are terrified of being enclosed in spaces. They feel like they're being suffocated. And Friday the 13th, Dr. Pat, is so pervasive. According to the Institute of Phobias that used to be in North Carolina, Dr. Dossi, he recently passed, he estimated that 21 million Americans have a fear of Friday the 13th. They suffer from frigatriskaidekaphobia to the point where they won't leave their homes, they won't go to school, they won't shop, they won't travel. And it is calculated that every Friday the 13th, businesses in the United States alone lose close to $1 billion in revenue. So frigatriskaidekaphobia is a very real thing. And the thing about a phobia is it may seem irrational, but there is actually a rational basis to where this phobia comes from. Now, I know that we have a caller on the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah,
So,
Donna.
yeah, so why don't we go to Donna and then we'll come back and talk more
Yes, we will.
about the fear of Friday the 13th.
I got like a little theory. But let's go to Donna first, TJ.
All right, Donna, you're on the air.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. Hi. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Donna, how you doing?
I have good. Well,
I can't hear
good,
Donna. Is there any way we can boost her volume?
Oh,
Hey, Donna,
no.
can you do me a favor? If you're on a cell phone, can you get a little closer to your mic for us?
Is that better?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, much better. Thanks, Donna. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Are you kidding? Thank you. Mark, I have a question. I'm in a situation here, without getting too deep into it, wondering if my guides, angels, deceased relatives, deceased friends or pets, somebody could give me some guidance. I'll tell you a little bit. My animals, which were my family, and which God told me, I heard that this was my life's mission, was to take care of animals. Make a long story short, my animals were removed from my home a couple of weeks ago, which was beyond devastating. This was my family. This was what I felt was my life's work. Do you have any kind of insight from anyone on the other side, whether any of those animals will be returned to me, and what
hold
you
on,
see
hold on,
for
hold
me?
on, Donna, hold on. Woo, hold on. All right, let me first, let's talk about spirit communication. Communicating with the other side is not like sitting on Santa Claus's lap where you have a whole list of what you want, okay? And the thing is, it is best to approach spirit communication and check your expectations at the door and let me open up the spirit communication. And what may happen is answers may come through which may have nothing to do with your wish list of what you want from the other side. But the other side knows what messages you need to hear, even though you may think, well, I want to know about my animals getting returned. Okay. So that may not be what they're here to communicate with you about. But there is a female energy coming through connected to you that is associated with your female side of the family, which means your mother's side of the family. Let me get, okay. I am feeling this terrible pain in my liver, which is at the bottom of the rib cage on the right side. And it's from the liver all the way down through the intestines or stomach area. I'm feeling pains in the hip, and I feel this crippling sensation. When I say crippling, it doesn't necessarily mean that she couldn't walk prior to passing, but it may indicate there was an instability. I feel this instability in her hips, difficulty walking, a tremendous amount of back pain. So this poor lady was in quite a bit of physical pain. It was draining her immensely. And what I'm getting with her is this sense of, I think the term would be blunted affect. In other words, she wasn't real communicative toward the end. It almost seems like she wasn't able to or not willingly responding to people around her. And it seems that definitely the two of you have a connection, but it seems like the two of you were either not talking or having a difficulty communicating. And it was probably due to her physical problems. Now, I'm also getting these weird electrical, neurological sensations running down my right arm. So this lady had, to recap, issues with liver area, the whole lower right side of her abdominal cavity, instability in her hips and ability to walk, and I'm getting neurological issues in her right arm, coupled with a blunted effect, lack of communication or ability or desire to communicate toward the end of her physical life. Does this make any sense to you, Donna?
Can I say something?
Well, that's why I'm asking. Does this make any sense to you?
It could be my mom. My mom did pass away many years ago of lung cancer, and she was not able to communicate with me at the end.
Okay, this would make sense with that, and remember I said she's associated with your mother's side of the family. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's see
yeah.
what she wants you to know. Oh, interesting. She does want to talk about the animals. She said you needed this space. She calls it a liberation. Now, hold on. By liberation, what she said is this is an intervening cause which separated you from these animals so that you could reevaluate how you're handling your life. This does not mean that the animals will not be coming back into your life, but what she's telling me to convey to you is that you need to start focusing more on your interpersonal relationships with other people. And when you start creating those, this will now open the channel for the animals to return to your life and add more meaning to not only your life, but the relationships that you have with human beings. So that's the message that she's transmitting to me. She's also explaining to me that there's an issue with you and vitamin C. Vitamin C. Now, look, I know everybody is vitamin C conscious, and we can get it from a lot of fruits and the foods that we eat. But she's also discussing rickets. Rickets. I know rickets is a disease. Dr. Pat, do you know anything about rickets? I'm getting this whole thing about rickets.
Yes, and I think this is one of these things that it was, how should I say it? Once upon a time, rickets back in the day, let me just say back in the day, rickets was a thing, right? And so we heard our parents talk about the disease, rickets, right? And, there were other forms of it. But in modern times, we don't talk about it as much, right? We don't look at what that is. But, what it is usually now in kids, and I'm not saying like all kids, but usually kids that are in countries that don't have proper nutrition, right? It is almost an absence of extreme and prolonged vitamin D, right?
Right.
uh, Rarely inherited, right? But this is something that we've talked about for a long time in the wellness community about the power of vitamin D. And so back in the day, when we weren't aware about vitamin D, you saw a lot more of this. And certainly, I live in a place where, let me just say, the sun don't come out all that much here. So you got to get your vitamin D elsewhere.
Right, and also with the D is the vitamin C as well. And I'm not sure if rickets could be caused. I know that scurvy is caused by a deficiency in vitamin C, and
Mhm.
also I'm glad that you brought up vitamin D, Dr. Pat, because people think, oh, I'm vitamin C deficient, so I'll just take vitamin C. But what people have to realize with vitamins is they need to be taken in conjunction with other vitamins so that they actually
Right.
work.
And the
So.
difference is vitamin C will go through your body very quickly. I mean, that's why you hear people say, "Oh my God, go get that thing, drop it in water, drink that every hour, or pop in a vitamin C every hour." And you really want to talk to your practitioner or your doctor about this, especially if you go to a natural doctor, because you can overdo vitamin C in any one sitting. Vitamin D is a little bit different. It usually, if you're deficient, it takes a larger boost, and it's not that kind of thing that just goes through. But rickets, here's interesting. You brought up rickets. Rickets is associated with kids, children. So what is that? What is that? And it usually shows up as, what do we know? A deformity, like if your knees bow out, right? If there's a thickening of the wrists and ankles, or maybe there's a breastbone projection. So it shows up in sort of this delayed growth, right? Right. You know what I'm saying? Usually pain in the spine. So I wonder if that's something that's coming through, Mark, on your end.
It could be because if memory serves, rickets also affects bones.
Bones. It's
So
definitely
yeah,
bones.
bones. So that would make sense with the spine. Donna, is there anything going on with you with the health of your bones, your teeth, your spine?
I broke my arm last night.
Oh, you broke your arm last
Broke
night.
my
There
right.
we go. And
I
it's
broke my
interesting
right
because,
last night.
yeah, Okay.
And I do have some issues. I have Graves' disease, which it deteriorates your bones. I've got osteoporosis.
So this is cirrhosis, and so your mother's spirit brought up issues with the liver, which she may have had, but which you also have, because when spirits give messages, it can apply to more than one person, such as the spirit as well as you. So when the spirit transmitted to us that this was a period of liberation for you, that doesn't mean that you're free of your pets, because clearly you want them back. But her initial message, which now makes even more sense when you're explaining your health condition in conjunction with the rickets, is that you need to focus on your physical and mental well-being and forming relationships with humans. And once you get that all squared away, then you'll be ready to have the animals back in your life. So I'll leave that with you. Dr. Pat, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I do. I don't have it on that, but I want to just get down to a real practical level if you want my 2 cents on that, Donna.
Yes, please.
Yes, are you at a point now in your life where it's time for self-care? I hit a point like that in 2004. I was just not taking care of myself, and the universe really, man, they just hit me with the disease 2x4. But is this a point in time in your life where you've not been taking enough care of yourself? You take care of a lot of other people. You're taking care of animals.
Correct.
What is, am I making any sense to you there?
You are. Yeah, maybe this is my time to take care of me.
It is. I can tell you that right now.
Definitely. And that's what not just Dr. Pat, but your mom's spirit is telling you. So Donna, look at this time away from the animals, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for Donna to take care of Donna. Because, it's nice to be the custodian of these loving creatures that come into our lives. But if you don't take care of yourself first, then you're not going to be able to care for them. So I'll leave that with you.
Yeah. Can I ask you one thing, Donna? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do now? What action might you be willing to take either today? I know it's late where you are, or tomorrow morning. What different action might you be willing to take tomorrow to start you on your path of self-care?
You both of you are correct. I do need to I need to think about it, to think what steps I do need to take care of me.
Let it soak in. Because
just one.
It'll make sense.
Just one step, not 5. One. Just one thing, Donna. Okay, not like a lot of steps.
Yeah.
No.
One. Right. Less stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know sometimes we want to create the list of 50 different things we want to do, and then we don't do them. But I know you've got this, Donna, okay?
Yeah.
You've got this.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Donna.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Yeah, man. You take great care of yourself, and I really appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Look, before we go to break, let's take a minute, Mark, if we could, and let folks know how they find out more about you. Tell them how they get copies of your book. Tell them how they work with you, all of the above. And we need to let everybody know that we are doing this show now every Thursday. And a lot of folks didn't know that. They thought we just like dropping in.
No, yeah, The Psychic and the Doc is a new weekly show that Dr. Pat and I have been discussing and working on for a while. I think this is our 3rd episode now, and it's just such a privilege to work with Dr. Pat and to be able to help people. And if the listeners want to find out more about me, my book, sign up for my newsletter, please visit my website, evidenceofeternity.com, which is just like my last book, Evidence of Eternity. .com, and you can also find out about a phone session with me, where an hour phone session, all at evidenceofeternity.com.
An hour with Mark is like a lifetime, man. I'm telling you. Please, it's transformative. Hey, TJ, let's take a short break if we could. And I wanted to say to everybody, phone lines are open, just like Donna was able to zip in. 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. We are taking your calls, but I also want to say this. We have a way to get messages from you. If you're not able to call, go over to Transformation Talk Radio. .com, and right there you'll be able to ask a question. I got a couple questions that popped in that I'll bring up here, and surely we will get back to you on that. In the meantime, we're going to take a shorty, as I like to call it, when we come back on the phones, more about, I'm going to share this, the numerology of this Friday the 13th. Wait till you hear the juiciness of that stuff. We'll be right back, everybody. Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Psychic in the Doc with me, Dr. Pat, and of course, Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer and psychic explorer. But before we, as I said, got a couple of questions that came in, and I just want to say TJ is there to pick up the phone lines for those of you out there. 1-800-930-2819. I know, Robin, I got you from New York. We'll kick it up in a second. For those of you out there, we are on, because we didn't announce it, folks. You know, they were like, are they just like a one-trick pony here, or are they going to be a whole like Budweiser brigade? Yeah, we're more like the Budweiser. We're on, I'm not a pitch for Budweiser, I'm sorry, they're probably going to have to bleep that out, but we are more like the Clydesdales, and so we are here every Thursday, and at the moment we're here for an hour. Depending upon whether you guys like us and want more of us, we're thinking about doing all sorts of cool things. But Mark, how do people find out about you? And then you're going to talk a little bit about the history of what Friday 1-3.
Friday 1-3. Find out about booking a reading with me, signing up for my newsletter, following me on social media, and when the next episode of the Psychic on the Doc, which I'll give you a spoiler alert, every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Please go to my website, evidenceofeternity.com. That's evidenceofeternity.com. So, Dr. Pat, as you know, I'm known as the psychic lawyer, but also the psychic explorer, because I've spent a lot of my life traveling around the world to mystical and spiritual sites. I've always been fascinated with ancient mysteries. And Frigatriscadecaphobia, the fear of Friday the 13th, my search in that took me back in time 1,000 years to the Crusades. And without giving an extensive history lecture, the Crusades were a series of religious wars that the Europeans launched against Muslims in what is now Israel to recapture Jerusalem, the so-called Holy Land. And the Knights Templar, they were the special forces of the European armies. They were ordained priests and the total kick-butt, take-name warriors, but they were also the intellectuals of the Crusades. And they realized that you can't finance wars unless you have a bank. So essentially what they did is the Knights Templar set up the first international banking system with offices from London through France, Italy, Germany, all the way to Greece and the Holy Land. And so when people would go off to the Crusades, they would deposit their money, receive a certificate, and they could redeem it at any Knights Templar center throughout the Mediterranean world. Except, though, that the Templars charged interest, which in the medieval era was the sin of usury. Long story short, eventually the Crusades were a complete military failure, but the Knights Templars continued to grow rich, and European kings continued to borrow money not to fight the Muslims, but each other. This brings us to France in the year 1307. King Philippe IV, known as the Fair. And from the paintings and all that, he was, you know, a good-looking guy. That's the way he was known as Philippe the Fair. But don't let the good looks fool you. He was a monster to the fingertips. And he was up to his eyeballs in debt to the Knights Templar, as was his political puppet, Pope Clement V. And at this time, oh gosh, this is a whole lengthy story. And I'm giving you all the Cliff Notes version of it. But instead of being in Rome, the Vatican, if you will, was relocated to Avignon, France. And I actually spent some time at the Palais du Pape, the Palace of the Popes in Avignon. If you go to southern France, don't miss it. It's amazing. And the Grand Master of the Knights Templar, his name was Jacques de Molay. And Jacques was a great warrior, an able administrator. He was the head of the Knights Templar. And he wanted the King of France and the Pope to repay their loans. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the King and the Pope conspired. How do we get rid of them? We charge them with the crime, with the sin of usury and witchcraft and homosexuality and heresy and apostasy. And they came up with all of these horrible, heinous crimes. And in a coordinated raid at dawn on Friday, October 13th, in the year 1307, Jacques de Molay and 60 of the Knights Templars were arrested. They were taken to dungeons and subjected to medieval tortures, the thumbscrew, the rack, the Iron Maiden, and surprisingly, they confessed. 7 years later, it was March 18th of 1314, Jacques de Molay was burned at the stake for witchcraft, usury, and at least 50 other crimes. He did request that he be able to see the Cathedral of Notre Dame. And as the flames were engulfing him, he cried out that the king and the Pope will see me before God. A month later, Pope Clement drops dead. A few months after that, Philippe the Fair dies mysteriously in a hunting accident. So now, gossip, this juicy, starts spreading through Europe like wildfire. And so there were two schools of thought. Was Jacques de Molay actually in league with Satan? Did he invoke the powers of darkness to strike down God's representative on earth, the Pope and the all-powerful King of France? But then other people said, maybe he was innocent. Maybe he was like an avenging angel, and that he was pronouncing God's judgment upon the King and the Pope, and that the King and the Pope's evil plan was hatched on Friday the 13th. Well, this started this fear, because what happened was, what the concerns about the Knights Templar and the injustice to them went by the wayside, and people started seeing that either Friday the 13th was aligned with Satan, or it was an unlucky day where God's judgment would be handed out. And we have a track record of this because a couple decades later, Geoffrey Chaucer wrote in the Canterbury Tales, which anyone who took British Lit in high school was subjected to reading, wrote about Friday the 13th being an unlucky and even a cursed day. Well, it gets even juicier, Dr. Pat, because not all the Knights Templar were arrested. Some of them escaped and they went to Scotland. And after our next break, I'll tell you what happened with them.
I think we should skip the break. I think we got a bunch of callers, and I need to know what happened up there.
Okay.
I need to know. I love the cliffhanger you just did, and I almost fell for it. I'm almost like, we go to break. No. Well, because which group, right? Because they're featured in movies like what do you call that one with Tom Hanks, right?
The Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci Code.
Sure.
So
yeah.
And then there's another movie that's even better. Like, it's a warrior film that is really kind of cool, but a lot of blood and guts. But they're mentioned everywhere.
Yeah, it was Nightfall. Oh, the Knights Templar. Well, they're a real big deal for a real long time. And the reason that they were called the Knights Templar is that in the First Crusade, in the year 1099, the Crusaders captured Jerusalem. And these knights were given jurisdiction of this one mosque in Jerusalem, which was believed to have been the site of King Solomon's temple. Ergo, they became known as the Knights of the Temple Mount, and which was the Knights Templar. And so, according to legend, the Knights Templar discovered the lost Ark of the Covenant, which we all know that Harrison Ford, saved from the Nazis and Raiders of the Lost Ark. But there's also very strong rumors and beliefs in their legends that they actually came into possession of the Holy Grail, the actual cup that Jesus used at the Last Supper. And so there was this mystique. And they also had They're a very clandestine organization. Not just anybody could join the Knights Templar, and they had secret rituals, and so they were very, very secretive. Which certainly that type of behavior gave the Pope Clement V and Philippe IV of France all the ammunition that they needed, that there's some creepy, weird thing going on and behind the scenes. But so let's go back to Friday the 13th in 1307. The Knights Templar are being rounded up. Well, these guys were smart, and a lot of them escaped. And what they did is they left from New Rochelle, France, and they on ships, because the Knights Templar, not only they own banks, they have their own ships. They went to Scotland. And so they became productive members of society in Scotland. They were also great architects and engineers, and they were masons. And there were two types of masons in Scotland. There was the rough masons who, built the castles, and then there were the Freemasons, and they called them Freemasons because the stone that they worked on was soft. It was known as Freemasonry. They became known as the Freemasons, and they did their really intricate architectural work, and eventually morphed into what we now know as the Freemasons. So according to tradition, the Freemasons never forgot what happened to their forebears at the injustice inflicted upon them by King Philippe and Pope Clement. And eventually, the descendants of the Freemasons came to the New World. And the Declaration of Independence was signed by 56 men, 9 of whom were Freemasons.
That's right.
But get this, the U.S. Constitution, which was enacted in 1790, 39 men signed it. 13 of them were Freemasons. And in 1791, the Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution was passed, and it was pushed forward by the Freemasons. And two of those Freemasons were George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. And the Eighth Amendment is the ban on cruel and unusual punishment. And this was a big step for the United States. We were the only country in the world at that time that banned the use of torture. I mean, think about what happened to those Knights Templar. They were having their fingernails pulled off. They were having hot pokers put on their body, up their rectums. They were put on the rack and stretched until their arms and legs are being pulled out of the socket. No wonder they all confessed. Who wouldn't confess? I mean, my God, they would pull your eye out. All right, we're going to pull your eye out, or you sign. I probably would have signed anything. And so this is what separated us from these barbaric practices, was the Eighth Amendment. And then eventually the 14th Amendment, which was enacted in 1868, is the equal protection. In other words, equal protection provision, and that all these laws must apply to the states. So if you look at it, as horrible as what happened to the Knights Templar in 1307 because of their arrest and the false charges that were levied against them on Friday the 13th of 1307, their deaths and the torture were not in vain, because it led to shaping our modern world and the enactment of the ban on torture and cruel and unusual punishment in the United States.
I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to rock it with our callers right now, because I did a show earlier today, and I'm starting. This is a fascinating time we live in, right?
Yes.
And the deal about all this is, in my life, when I look back, anytime I've stepped on glass, and I literally stepped on glass, anytime that I've stepped on glass, something somehow that turned in to some reflection of something amazing. Now, I don't know how that works, but let's go to the phones, because we got some folks, they want to connect. And I'm telling you, everybody out there, just stay with us, bear with us. If we have to go longer, I think TJ Mark said we could go a little bit longer. We got Robin, we got Sarah, we got Madeline, and I think my cousin may be calling. I don't know. Let's see. Who do we want to go to first, TJ?
Can we go to Madeline first because she called in last week and she didn't get a call in.
Madeline, of course.
Hey, Madeline.
Yep. Madeline, you're on air with Dr. Pat and Mark Anthony.
Hey, Madeline.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Hi.
I'm good.
Um,
Just do me a favor. If you have the show on in the background, you just want to turn that down and just speak directly into your phone because we need to get you some information. I'm feeling it, sister.
Oh, you feeling it good. I'm feeling it too.
Yes. Mark,
Can you hear me?
I got you now.
Can you hear me
You
now?
sound good.
Got
Yeah,
you
we
now.
can hear you now.
Good. Good. All right, cool. So what do you guys need? What do you need to know from me? Or what are you feeling?
Okay, so I'm assuming you want to connect with some of your loved ones in spirit.
Oh, I sure do.
Okay,
I sure do.
hold on, Madeline. Let me open up to higher frequency and see who's coming through. I'm getting a male energy coming in. And he could be on the generation above you. He could be on the parent level, or he could actually be on the grandparent level. Okay, because he's got a very paternalistic attitude, view towards you, and I mean that in the positive sense. And my throat is killing me, and I'm feeling inflammation in the lymph glands. I'm feeling issues in his trachea, bronchial tubes. I feel that his lungs toward the end, he was having a very difficult time breathing. It feels like his lung capacity had decreased by at least 80%. Because there was a huge difficulty of him getting oxygen into his system. I'm getting a bitter taste in my mouth, which is an indication of a couple different things. Most likely he was on medication, because when I get that battery acid metallic taste, that's an indication of medication. But I'm also getting this weird epilepsy in my back. So there could have also been, in conjunction with this, seizures, some type of neurological discomfort. And what I'm getting about him, Madeline, he knew what was going on around him. And it's interesting because in the previous call, that spirit was having difficulty communicating to her loved ones before she passed. This gentleman was as well. But I'm getting the distinct feeling from him that you were in close physical proximity to him when, okay, this is making sense.
Madeline, is that you got that? That makes sense to you?
Yes, most of it is. Yeah, that was my dad. He suffered with Alzheimer's the last 15 years of his life. And he wasn't able to walk. He wasn't able to talk. He wasn't able to, nothing, no communication, no nothing.
Yeah.
But when you said that he knew that we were there.
Well, he wants you to know that he knows that you were there. And what's fascinating is, even though he had Alzheimer's, he was aware. And I don't pretend to be an expert on Alzheimer's, but it appears that there's different levels of it. So while he may have come in and out of lucidity, he was aware, even prior to his passing, of loved ones being near. What he wants you to know now, Madeline, is he's completely free of all of those mental blocks and the Alzheimer's, and that he is doing just fine. And he said, my cheeks are rosy again. My cheeks are rosy again, and you have rosy cheeks. Do you and your dad have a fair complexion? What's with all the rosy cheeks he keeps talking about?
That I really don't know, but yeah.
No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Look, I don't mean to argue. All right, when you were a little girl, did you have like a creamy complexion and rosy cheeks?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
and
I did.
All right. Do you look like your dad?
I do.
Okay.
I'm exactly like
so
my
let's
dad.
revisit the rosy cheeks. So here's what he's telling me.
You know
The
what
reason-
you're saying that? Now I'm thinking.
Okay, go
of what
right
my
ahead,
dad
Madeline.
looked
Go right
like,
ahead. Then
and I'm
sorry?
But you know what? That's funny you're saying that because he always did have towards the end he had the rosy cheeks. Like, yeah, he did.
Okay, the reason that
that's
he's
so
bringing
weird.
that up is that spirits, when they come through, particularly those who are elderly or extremely ill and debilitated prior to passing. He is projecting himself to me as a young, handsome man with rosy cheeks. And the reason that spirits do that is because they're pure energy. And energy doesn't get old, it doesn't get sick, it doesn't die, it doesn't deteriorate. So that's what he wants you to know, Madeline, is that he is just fine and he's completely recovered from that. And he's referencing your mother. Is your mother on the other side?
Absolutely, and that's exactly who I wanted to hear from.
Okay, hold on, because Mom, let me tell you, Mom certainly knows how to make an entrance. It's like the doors are flinging open. She's coming in like, I'm here, and everybody better take notice. And I really like her because she's a great, great energy. And you remember the actress Shelley Winters and the actress Ethel Merman and the mom on Everybody Who Loves Raymond, Doris Roberts?
Yes.
She kind of reminds me of like a combination of all three of those. This very, very powerful alpha female, gregarious. She had a temper on her, but boy, did she love to the very bottom of her heart. And I'm actually feeling, if you were here in person, I would have to hug you on her behalf. She just wants you to have a hug, okay? And she said your kitty is here. Your kitty is here. Did you have a cat that was kind of on the grayish side with some white underneath its chin and on its chest, like a little kitty, a gray cat?
No, I never had any cats, no.
Well, somebody's got a cat over there. I want you to think, did your mom or your dad ever have a little gray kitty?
No, neither one of us had any cats.
I want you to write that down because this is going to make, hold on, Madeline. This is going to make sense, okay? Because I just don't fling out random cats hoping to get a hit. What this is going to indicate is somebody connected to you or your mom or somebody close to you had a cat that matches this description because animals come through as well. Okay. All right. Hold on. Your mom's taking a cigarette and putting it out in an ashtray, like very deliberately putting it out, putting it out, putting it out. Was she a smoker, or is there some issue with you in smoking, as in you need to stop?
Nope, she was a smoker, yes.
And
yes, I do smoke, yes.
Okay, and what is mom telling you? You need to stop smoking. Now, the way, and I know I like to make this joke because it's absolutely true. Just because your mother died does not mean she's going to stop telling you what to do, okay? And she's not here to be critical or obnoxious or rude. She's here because she loves you, and she's telling you that you need to stop smoking, and here's why. There is a cellular mutation going on inside of the lining of your lungs, and I'm feeling that this is a burning sensation and it's affecting the lining and the cilia in your lungs, and this is leading to something like emphysema, but I fear, based on what she's telling me, that you could be in the very beginning stages of heading in the direction of lung cancer. But if you stop now, you can prevent this. So this is what she wants you to know.
Okay. I got you.
Okay, Dr. Pat, you got anything for Madeline?
Madeline, look, I'm going to tell you something. I feel you, sister. You know, look at this. I'm a 3-pack-a-day smoker back in the day. Know what I'm saying? Right there. Three of them, like strong ones. 3 packs a day. I know you can do it. I know you can do it, especially when you get message like this from Mark. And what I want to say is this is, wow, how do I say this without going into a crazy moment? This message to you, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's why you called in today. It is a 10. Even though you called in to have Mark connect you, the message and what he just said to you, that is worth its weight in gold. That is your action.
Okay.
I know you hate to hear it right before the holidays.
I I mean, I can tell you I cut down from 2 packs a day to 1 pack or less a day.
I know. I know. I'm going to tell you something about nicotine. Our friend Nick.
Okay.
It is about one of the most difficult things to do. And it's one of the things, just like in 12-step programs, Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever you want, it is one of those things you do. You just stop. Now, a lot of places out there, my friends, they went to hypnotherapy. Is a great hypno thing out there. They do that hypnotherapy stuff now works. I went cold turkey. If I were doing it today, I would get like oh, you can help me. Oh, you can. Oh, so I love this. Now I'm curious about a common sense thing, Mark.
Okay.
I'm a little bit curious about the cat. And I'm just going to be curious, when you go to search for something to help you, you got to come back and let us know if they have some kind of logo or something. So I'm just going to be curious. So I am going to invite you to call back and let us know what you did next week. You got that?
I will. I'll try and figure it out.
I believe you. I'm telling you, I believe in you. I know this.
You know, absolutely. And what Dr. Pat's telling you is right on the money. With spirit communication, when I do the one-on-one readings, I have more time to spend with people, and I usually do a 10-minute introduction orientation. You have to realize after the reading, things are going to start making more and more sense to you. Plus, some of the things that come through may not have happened yet. I call the period after the reading the unfolding. Think the reading's like a flower, blooms, blossoms, unfolds. It takes time. I had somebody contact me once 5 years after a reading, and she said, I suddenly realized what this one thing meant. Generally doesn't take 5 years. It may take a day or so. So don't worry if you don't understand it right away. It will make sense. And I really like what Dr. Pat said about maybe they have a logo. Maybe it's a gray kitty.
I can tell you exactly what it is. I can tell you exactly what it is. If you go online and you look up quit smoking and even put the word cat in, you will be shocked at how many images of cats there are with I should quit smoking.
Really?
I'm not kidding. I swear. Don't trust me. Go do it. Watch what happens. Look, Mark, we're going to go into a second hour because we've got a bunch of people waiting. We want to get to the phones. Melissa, I heard you. I know you called in last week. This is important. It's really cool energy. We're here to help everybody. We're going to take a really short break just so we can give ourselves a little exhaling. When we come back, we're going to go to the phones, and I'm going to tell you what the numerology meaning of November 13, 2020 is. Everybody, please be patient. We're going to take a shorty. We will be right back on Facebook and right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. I'm looking at that cat and it says, this is me on Nicorette. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome. And this is the second hour of the Psychic and the Doc. We extended it because you are so important to us, all of you. Robin, Sarah, Melissa, you're all really important to us. You're all out there. We know we hear you. Mark was like, yeah, if we need to go to a second hour, let's do it. Because we are talking about Friday the 13th. Now, Friday the 13th numerology, when you put it together, you're really looking at this Friday the 13th, November 13th, 11/13/2020. And when you put that all together, what you get out of all the numerology, add it, divide it, and here's what you get the number 1. Now, 2 days ago on 11/11, that was a super manifestation day. But this Friday the 13th is super interesting. And what I love about this is when you put it together and you put 11 and 1 together, things happen. Today in the show, we are going to keep rolling here because Friday the 13th, whether it's consciously, Mark, or subconsciously, even from a young age, we are been like Friday the 13th, don't step on the crack, Friday. And we may be like, well, I'm not afraid of Friday the 13th. But man, if you got something in your cellular memory, right, it's a tissue issue. And you may walk outside and you may see a crack and you don't think, I'm not going to step on that crack. And you try to dodge it by jumping 4 feet and all of a sudden you break your leg, then you say, aha, I told you Friday the 13th. But
Oh, sure.
today, we're going to help some people, aren't we?
Yes, we are, because Friday the 13th is about fear and phobia, and we are the anti-fear, anti-phobia duo. So let's do it. Let's do it, Dr. Pat.
I love the whole fight or flight thing. That was like a brilliant psychological thing. They boiled this whole thing about fear down to two actions: flight or right, two things. Can you imagine?
Fight or flight. Yeah.
Fight or flight. You're either going to go flight, fight, or you're going to yeah. But today we're not going anywhere. So we could have did the flight thing, but we didn't. So we're here to help everybody, and we're going to get to all of you. This is a live call-in show, but you can go over to facebook.com Transformation Talk Radio. You'll see the live Facebook stream. It is both audio and video. We love doing that. Mark, what is the best way for people that need more than a few minutes to work with you on fear or flight or fright or fro or freedom?
Is to schedule a telephone reading with me, which, as people can see, is, the reason we do this on the phone is because spirits are pure electromagnetic energy, and they're zipping back and forth between us at the same speed as your phone call and as the same speed as radio waves. And so if people would like a one-on-one session with me, evidenceofeternity.com, click on the link that says book a phone session with Mark, evidenceofeternity.com. And in a one-on-one session, I've got more time to spend with you, and we're going to get multiple spirits coming through. Last night I did a reading for somebody, and 11 spirits popped in, including her dog, which was kind of cool. So any being capable of the emotion of love is capable of spirit communication. So evidenceofeternity.com. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Who do we got?
Let's start with Robin from New York.
Let's do it.
Robin, are you there?
Hey, Robin.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear. I love that.
Okay, perfect.
How can we help you today?
Hello?
Yeah, how can we help you today?
So, perfect. So I had a reading with Mark, about, a couple days ago, maybe 5 days ago, and he was spot on, and I had to call in just to let everybody know that, because, I did the unfolding, and I was amazed at what actually happened.
Well, thank you, Robin.
And I just want to know.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. I think you remember who I was with my husband, Herman.
Yes. So how can I help you today?
Okay, so today I just wanted to let you know you gave me more reading on my friend that I met 5 months ago that did the unfolding, that I was just so amazed that she had heart palpitations downstairs while you were reading me, and I had no idea about that. So when I confronted her the next day, she had told me, when you said St. Catherine, St. Mary, and St. Irene, and you gave me the number 23 and March and April, I just got floored. Her son was born on St. Catherine's Day. He's on the other side. And you said there was a male figure that was letting in my daughter. But yeah, her name is Catherine Mary, and you also mentioned Angel and Michael, and she was holding the Ark of Michael, which is the angel that I gave her.
Oh, my goodness.
He was
Okay.
also, yeah, you were, well, and this is not all. And April, he was born, and you had mentioned the month of April. So, and you also mentioned a male figure that didn't have a leg, and that was her father. And you mentioned March 23 or March 23, and it was March 23rd where he had passed away.
Well, wow, Robin,
Also,
I appreciate it. Thank you. Because what's really fascinating is that you didn't know, like with the gentleman with the leg, and you didn't know a lot of these facts until you were able to verify them after the reading. And so that's what happens is when I open up to higher frequencies and spirits come in, they transmit information to me. And that's why when people see my videos or they see me in person or here on The Psychic and the Doc, when I say, hold on, don't go directly to no. What happens is you need to give yourself some time Plus, a lot of people fall into what I call the no, no, no syndrome. And you start saying, no, no, no. And what that does, it's like slamming the door in the spirit's face. You're generating a negative energy barrier. You know, I'm a science fiction fan, I'll admit it. So it's like on Star Trek and Star Wars when they raise the deflector shields, okay? Because you're putting that energy out there. Well, we want to lower the deflector shield. So if you don't get it right away, it's better to say, I'm not sure, let me think about it. Because just as you explained, Robin, after the reading, when you conferred with your friend, she said, oh my gosh, that was my son and that was my father who came through. And those spirits were with your daughter who came through because, you know, she loves you. She loves her dad. And I do recall the reading very well. And your daughter is such a loving spirit. Hold on. Robin, are you doing something, are you planning on some type of education? And what I mean by this, are you going to school on something, taking some courses, doing some type of education, expanding your knowledge on something? And the reason I'm saying this is that your daughter's spirits just came through, and she's holding up a bright red apple. I know it's the proverbial apple that you give to your teacher, but this applies to you. The other interpretation for apples are a significance connected to you or your daughter or somebody close to the two of you within the month of September, like a birth, death, anniversary, or event. But I'm getting this whole thing about you, like either going back to school or like taking a couple courses in something to expand your knowledge of something.
Yes, I am, and two possibilities. I am doing Bible study now with the church, and she was a teacher, and she used to wear a red apple on her shirt. She was a pre-K teacher.
Oh my goodness.
So
okay, I think we got the triple crown there. Your daughter is such a wonderfully amazing spirit to communicate with, and as you can see, this is what's known as a multiple meaning message. The apple, in my interpretation, indicates education, and she was an educator. You're taking a Bible study class, and then there's the literal depiction that she would wear, what was it, a dress or something with a red apple on it.
it was a pin. Yeah.
It was a pin. Okay, great. Yeah, and it probably meant, you know, the teacher, the red apple. Fantastic. So see, she's around. She's aware of what's happening with you, and hey, was there some discussion about blood types? What blood types? She's talking about type.
Yeah, we just
type A positive, which, you know, of course, in school A plus. But again, A positive. Is there something with a blood type?
I'm not sure, but you did mention it before about the blood, about a vitamin A, D, and K, but I haven't unfolded that yet.
Okay, well, no, that's fine because it must be significant if she's bringing it up again. So let's do this. The next time you go for a checkup and you get your blood work, make sure that they do a test for both red and white blood cell count and also your protein levels, okay? Because, you know, your daughter, she said that obviously the stress of her passing has taken a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual toll on you, although your spirituality has entered a completely new dynamic. But it's also been, in her words, deleterious. Oh, that's a $1.25 word.
Wow.
Deleterious to your blood cells. Dr. Pat, do you have anything?
I do. I am so thrilled you said Bible study. And I don't know what you're doing on Friday the 13th, but the Friday the 13th is a number one day, the numerology number one. Number one is also very significant in the Bible. I don't know, you probably know that. I'm probably preaching to the choir right here. But what that means to me, there's something from a very practical perspective about tomorrow for you. Now, I don't know, there's something you're doing tomorrow, there's something happening tomorrow, but it's a really purposeful day for you tomorrow. And, you know, what do you got planned for tomorrow?
I really don't have planned anything for tomorrow, but I do got to let you know on that 111, 11, 11, I am constantly seeing the 1. I'm constantly seeing the 11, 11. I'm constantly seeing 111. It's so prevalent in my life. My daughter was very spiritual. However, my girlfriend's birthday is on the 13th. She lives on 13 Hickory Hill, and she loves the number 13. So there you go.
Well,
there you go.
This is a number one day. And what this is about is for you to, and your girlfriend or whoever that is a day to explore new ideas, a day to really look at physical locations. Now, if you can't go visit your friend, maybe a Zoom or something like that. And so it's just something for you that's an essence for you. You know what I mean? It's an essence number for you. So tomorrow when you
Yeah.
wake up, you may feel like, I want to be alone today. Okay, it's a number one day. It's about self-determination, right? You just don't want to flip over from I want to be alone to then lonely, right?
Oh, and you know what, Robin, I'm getting another. This is a bizarre message. Carrot cake and pumpkin muffins. What is up with carrot cake and pumpkin muffins? Love them, hate them. Your daughter's transmitting. I mean, I can taste the carrot cake muffin with the cream cheese frosting, and then I'm tasting a pumpkin muffin. And maybe your friend whose birthday is tomorrow likes carrot cake and or pumpkin. But this is coming through like, I mean, I can actually taste it.
Her birthday isn't tomorrow. She just is 13. She lives on 13. But her birthday is in April, and you had mentioned April to me on the last reading. So I'm thinking that's maybe connected or something. I don't know.
Well,
But
you know, I don't.
number 13.
What I'm trying to say is tomorrow is like an interesting day for all of us, but those that really are attracted to the number one, like you, right? You see the number one in your sleep,
Totally.
right? Yeah.
Oh, my
That
God.
tomorrow is going to be a what's the word? Tipping point day for you. It's going to be a transformative day.
I
Don't
hope
know
so.
how.
That would be nice because I have been seeing nothing but 1111s. I mean, I'm driving on the road, and here comes a school bus, and she's a teacher, and the school bus has 111 right in front of it.
All right.
Crazy.
So yeah, lean into tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Robin, hey, look, I really appreciate you calling in and you sharing that with people because I've known Mark for a while and I'm always in awe about this. So
Oh,
thank
my
you so
God.
much for calling in.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, he is so recommended. Oh, my gosh. I can't even
know.
tell you.
Thank you, Robin. God bless you. And
Thanks, Robin.
be on the lookout for carrot cake and pumpkin muffins. All right,
I'll
let
you had to bring that up. I'm like on the keto.
Yeah,
I'm doing the
I
keto
am
and they're
too.
bringing up.
I'm on a total no sugar. Well, because sugar's the
But
silent killer.
we could do monk fruit though. I heard we could do
yes.
monk fruit. So you can make the carrot like the thing with the icing. You can make it with monk fruit.
There you go.
TJ, let's keep going on the phones here for a minute, and we'll take a break on the half. But who do we have next, everybody?
We have Sarah from Port Townsend. Sarah, can you hear us?
Oh my God, I love Port Townsend. Oh, I'm going to be like, oh, just get me on a ferry. Hey, Sarah.
1 second. Need to adjust something.
TJ's doing his magic right now. Have you ever been to Port Townsend, Mark, when you come here?
I haven't, and I just let me tell you, I love.
Can you hear me?
Sarah, are you there?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Sarah, you
Sarah.
there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I
Can you
love
hear
Port
me?
Townsend.
Can you
Sarah,
hear me?
how can we help you? Yes, Sarah, we can hear you. How can we help you?
Well, okay. Well, I'd like some carrot cake now.
You know the really sad thing about carrot cake? It's supposed to be like the most fattening, most unhealthy cake, and you think because it's got carrot in the name that it's somehow good for you. All right, let me get serious. Okay. Hold on. I'm getting a male energy coming in connected to you, and this gentleman feels like he could be on your generational level. In other words, he could be like brother, sister, cousin, spouse, friend, or he could possibly be like on the child, niece, nephew level, because he's either your generation or possibly a little bit younger. And he keeps giving me, he looks like he was about, gosh, he could have been mid-20s when he passed. And what I'm getting, is this making sense to you?
If it's my son, yeah.
Okay, well that's why either your level or the one below your son. Okay, so hold on. Al. Okay, when I say Al, please forgive me. When what happens is when spirits connect with me, they send all these impulses through my body, and they usually start off with the sensations which are related to their cause of passing. And what I'm getting with him is I feel this shockwave going through my body, which can indicate
Oh
that
my
there was
God.
okay that this was an abrupt, unexpected passing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and he said it happened so fast I didn't have time to react. It happened so fast I didn't have time to react. Okay, that's
That's
what he
right.
keeps telling me. And what I get about your son is he seems like he was one of these guys that had a great sense of situational awareness. In other words, he was
Yes.
one of these guys. It's like my dad was a Navy SEAL, and his whole thing was be aware, be aware. You know, like you have to have this 360-degree perimeter all the time. And your son's like one of those guys, or is one of those guys.
Yeah.
Very much
Yeah.
aware. You said did not have the opportunity to respond. And now he's doing something a little bit different. He is handing me, of all things, a martini glass, and it's got 2 olives in it. And I know that Sean Connery passed recently, but I'm getting the whole
Oh
martini shaken, not
gosh.
stirred. What is going on with that?
Well, I have two sons on the other side, and both were tragic, but my youngest was the first one who was murdered. And then 3 years later, my other son committed suicide, but he would do Sean Connery impersonations all the time.
So we got them both. Okay, so that's why we got the son with the shockwave, and then we've got the one who did the Sean Connery impersonation. Okay,
Yeah,
so
he
your
would
sons
impersonate.
are here. Okay, hold on. I don't mean to laugh, but these guys are cracking me up. They are laughing.
Wonderful.
They are happy. Okay. Your younger son, he died. He was not the one who died by his own hand, correct?
Correct.
Okay. He's the one that wants to speak first, but his passing was very unexpected, is what I'm getting.
That's
Very
right.
unexpected.
Right.
And do you drive a large car or a large vehicle? He keeps talking about you driving a vehicle that's almost too big for you. I know that sounds odd, but that's what I'm getting.
I don't know if you'd call a Jeep Cherokee too big, but
Well, Jeep Cherokee's pretty big, okay? It's funny because he goes, "Mom, that's too big for you," okay? And it almost I'm not sure why he's saying that. Hold on. Oh, wait a second. Is there a blind spot? Hold on. He's talking about when you're driving, and it may be the way your mirrors are adjusted. He said there seems to be some type of issue with. Go ahead.
That's the car I have now that does have a blind spot from a mirror.
There we go. This is a warning, okay? So you either have to have this mirror adjusted or something, but this is what I refer to as spirit intervention. And your son is stepping in to make sure that you do not get into any type of car accident. All right. He goes, "I love you, Mom." He goes, "We're going to see you." He says, "We'll be here, but don't rush." Okay. Now, the other son, the Sean Connery impersonations, he's coming through. And what I get with him is, now this could be said of pretty much anyone who has passed from suicide, but I'm getting this overwhelming sense of depression that he simply could no longer contain or control, could not contain or control. And he was taking some type of medication, he said, but it became ineffective. He keeps repeating, it became ineffective. And he said, "Mom, I used to drive you crazy. Mom, I used to drive you crazy. Mom, I used to drive you crazy."
Yeah.
And he said, "Because
He
I
did.
always knew that you were the one person who was always there for me." And he said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
Wow. Yeah, he definitely had a hard road.
Was he Dr. Pat, how would you describe somebody who, it's almost like bipolar. It's like, when people are bipolar,
Yes.
go into that
Yes.
frenetic,
Yeah,
manic.
yeah.
That's what I'm getting. That's why he said he always drove you crazy. He said he didn't mean to, but he just did.
Yeah.
Dr. Pat, does that make sense?
Well, it after losing his brother, he lost his own son, my grandson, his newborn at 5 weeks. So he was the kind of person that just held everything in and tried to man up. So he went into getting on meth and crashing mentally, like schizophrenia.
Yeah, it's like this frenetic energy that just went off the scale. Okay.
Yeah, he went out of control.
Now, his little boy who passed, was there, I almost feel like it's an unusual sensation. It's my lungs are like they're filled with fluid. It doesn't so much feel like drowning. It almost feels like, please forgive me. It feels like they're filled with blood, and I'm getting this crushing sensation. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. It's all an awful tragedy that the infant was sleeping with the mother and was accidentally unable to breathe, asphyxiated, and my son tried to resuscitate the baby.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So huge tragedy.
Sure, I mean, that's, there aren't even words powerful enough to describe the anguish that your son and that you as a mother who lost 2 sons and a grandbaby have been through.
That's indeed so. But it's wonderful to hear you talk about the Martinis and the Sean Connery, because that was definitely my son, my eldest son, and then you've really connected with them. And they were, always made me laugh, both of them.
Yes, they without a doubt. Hold on. All right, they're still cutting up. I'm sorry. I know we got all very somber, but these guys are cutting up. They said, "Hey, Mom, look for your keys. Why don't you? What's with you? Do you lose your keys a lot?"
No, I still have my teeth, but.
They're talking about look for your keys. Look for your keys. They keep going on with look for your keys.
Oh gosh, I hope that isn't something in the future. But the mirror on the car is definitely an issue.
You know what? Take it into a garage, an auto shop, and see if they can add like an additional mirror to it to expand your peripheral view. Because in spirit intervention, spirits come through to give us advice to head off at the pass something bad. And because spirits are capable of seeing what you and I would call the future, and there's a whole technical explanation for that. But to suffice it to say, that's what they're talking about. And they keep talking about your keys, losing the keys. So
losing keys.
Yes.
I thought you said teeth. I thought you said teeth, like I need dentures.
Keys. Losing keys.
Okay. Yeah, well, I've been losing my mind, so the keys might not be far behind. So.
Okay. Well, certainly, look, if anyone has an excuse to have a meltdown, it's you. I mean, I don't, mean have a meltdown. But, there's this thought, and Dr. Pat, you could probably explain it much better than I can. I know people think that they have to be strong. They have to be strong all the time. Sometimes it's okay not to be strong.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing, from a real practical perspective, one of the things you want to ask the mechanic or wherever you take your vehicle, is the inside mirror. You know that one, the inside mirror you look at, the inside?
Right.
Yeah. Have them make sure that that inside mirror that you can see from the back, and whatever the headrest might be in your vehicle. I don't know if you have headrests, but when the headrests are too high, right, you got to put them down.
Yeah.
So even the side mirrors, yes, but have them check that inside mirror just to make sure it's clear.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Yeah, because
All right.
there's definitely a blind spot by the size
Yep.
of the mirror. And I just had to add, I went to the Afterlife Research meeting in Scottsdale, and I had the pleasure of hearing you, Mark Anthony, speak again. And I wish I'd had you for a teacher.
Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be,
Yeah,
once this pandemic subsides, I'm going to be back on the road. But and even then, we're going to be doing. See, tonight's a special show. We're talking about Friday the 13th.
Yep.
But we're going to have other topics where we'll be talking about
Yep.
history, mystery, all sorts of phenomenon. We're going to have fascinating guests. We got a great Thanksgiving show. So when people, are home and then Thanksgiving, we're going to have a Thanksgiving show that people can tune into. So the Psychic and the Doc is taking Dr. Pat and I on the road in the cyber sense.
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing before we go to break, Sarah, for you, is I work with both men and women in addiction community. My mother committed suicide from the her inability to get clean. And when you're talking about crystal meth, it is a tough one. And my sense is, from working with addicts, and I've watched them, they really do try. They really do try.
Yeah, he tried, but it was all too much together. But thank you both very much.
Welcome.
I feel very grateful to having gotten my call in. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mark,
God bless.
Yep. God bless you. We're going to take a short break. Melissa, we're going to get to you. We promise. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we are going to get to Melissa out in Michigan, and I'm not sure who else we have. But yeah, we are talking about Friday the 13th. And I'll tell you, folks are not afraid to call in here. I am loving this. Let's take a short break, everybody. TJ, and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to The Psychic and the Doc. And I'm here with Mark Anthony, who is the psychic. Gotta love it. And I'm Dr. Pat. Thank you for tuning in to this show. Also, if you want to find out more about transformationtalkradio.com, please go over there. Today I busted out in song during one of the shows. TJ, I don't remember what show that was. But I busted out in song because we were talking today about freedom, right? On an earlier show. And I must have been calling out my inner Janis Joplin. Freedom is another word for nothing left to lose. And if you followed her around like I did, groupie, and we drank booze from the same container because she grabbed it from me right before her life ended. And you understand sort of, what freedom is about, because that's today, foe, fear, foe, fright, foe, freedom. And we're talking about, Friday the 13th and what it means at a very obvious outer level, why movies are made about it, but at a subconscious level. Be amazed at how we have taken in Friday the 13th, vicariously, and it's in there. And even when Friday the 13th comes, you watch how we change our behavior slightly, right? And we don't say, I'm going to Friday the 13th, I'm going to change it. No, but we mean, I'm not going to go on the highway today. Why? Oh, Friday the 13th. We don't say that. So today we're taking your calls. We're tapping into whatever it is that we can tap in for you. Mark will take a journey with you. And we've got a bunch of callers calling in here for today, and we just want to make sure we get to them. I have a funny feeling my cousin's calling in too. But Mark, let's go to, I think we've got Melissa. And so I hope, TJ, we can bring Melissa on. I know she tried to get in last week, and she just got over to social media and said, hey, how do I call? Melissa,
you're on the air with Dr. Pat and Mark Anthony.
TJ's
All
so good,
right.
isn't he? Hey, all right.
Woo!
Yeah,
This is-
woo!
Yeah. This is quite a call. I just want to say that I don't know if it's all the spirits, it's you two for sure, but I went from being down in the dumps to like kind of buzzy, so I like it. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And that's
I'm telling you.
That's
I
what we're
just
here for.
Mark, I just did a what I call a little cognitive count on your energy, right? Because I'm not your normal like psychologist. So I did a little out of a 1 to 10, you're like a 20 right now. So I'm just curious to see how Mark's going to be able to help you out here.
Okay, Melissa, what can I help you with?
Well, I would like to know if anybody has a message for me, and I'm trying to keep my.
Hold on. Let's start there, and let's see what they have to say, and then if you have a question, we can put it out there for them. All right, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, look, I know we all know somebody named David, but my head is getting flooded with David. So there could be a spirit referencing somebody connected to you in this world named David, which, there may be some issue with him, or there's a spirit on the other side that's giving me David. Now, if that doesn't make sense, let's just put that off to the side for right now, because there's male energy coming through. And what I'm getting with him is I feel nauseated and I feel like I want to vomit. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to. But what that indicates is that he was having difficulty eating and or holding down food prior to passing. And nausea and vomiting can also be a cancer indicator. It doesn't always mean that this gentleman had cancer, but oftentimes it does. And with him, I'm going to go, well, hold on, in that direction, I think, because I'm feeling my lymph glands, I'm feeling under my arms, I'm feeling lumps. Yeah, this would be consistent with a metastasization, cancer metastasizing throughout his body. I'm feeling the draining sensation going through his body. And what a draining sensation means to me, Melissa, is that it took him some time to pass. This was not a quick or abrupt passing. He was very frail, very weak toward the end. But I do get that despite an immense amount of pain, particularly in his head, like his head pounding, that he had his wherewithal, his mental lucidity and clarity pretty much up until the end. And this is a very unusual sensation. There's this disparity between his two lungs. It's almost like one lung, either he was missing a lung or one lung was essentially not working toward the end. Hold on. Yeah, and I can see when the way they transmit this to me, I'm looking at my arm, but I'm seeing his arm, and I'm getting all these purple and blue spots all over it, which is very typical with people that had cancer. Does any of this make sense to you?
I put David aside because I don't know a David.
Yeah. Let's not worry about David just yet. Let's just go with.
I'm really working on this. The only person.
Go ahead. I'm feeling that this is not a family member, but this is like a friend or somebody that that is on your generational level. He may be a bit older than you, not a lot, but I get that this is like a friend, colleague, as opposed to a family member. Melissa, you're racking your brain too hard. Let's find out what this guy wants you to know, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. He said that first off, he goes, Melissa, you overanalyze and overthink everything. And he said, and that's good at work because you always have an answer for everything. And if there's a problem, you have a backup and you have a solution. He said, but that's also your enemy because when you try to sleep at night, you can't turn your head off. He said, your brain's going all the time. And he said, for every problem, you have 15 solutions. And when you come up with those solutions, you get 15 problems. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes. Yeah, that does. Yeah.
Okay. He's also telling me that he said, you think you drink more water than you do. Are you not getting enough hydration?
Oh, yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I probably have not been, yeah. I'm a big water advocate, and I think that just recently, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's see what else he wants you to know. Fascinating. Fascinating. He's talking about Thurgood Marshall. Now, Thurgood Marshall was the first Black U.S. Supreme Court justice. So, there could be something about Thurgood Marshall or someone with a name like Marshall, but this indicates something about the system of justice, a court case, something about you have this sense of advocacy and this need for justice. There's this whole thing going on with you with it's almost that you're demanding justice. Does that make any sense to you?
Oh, definitely. My entire life, I've always, justice means a lot to me, and for all of humanity, absolutely. That's very important to me. So, wow, that's interesting.
I'll tell you, it would be hard to epitomize justice more than Thurgood Marshall. He was just an incredible image. So,
wow.
Andy, the spirit keeps projecting to me a name that sounds like Andy. So there could be an Andy or an Andrew connected to you, or that could be this guy's name. Okay. But he keeps talking about Andy. And he's also telling me that you're at the cusp of making some type of business, possibly legal decision, but you have to be extremely cautious because you're very close to biting off more than you can chew. Okay. Does that make any sense to you?
Somewhat, because I was just recently made aware of a financial issue, like a debt on my part that I wasn't aware of, and I don't know what to do about it, and feel like I need to talk to an attorney.
Well, then that's what you should do, because the thing is, when I was practicing law full time, now I'm I still appear on shows like The Psychic and the Doc and other shows as a legal analyst, in addition to my work in the paranormal and the metaphysical. But I used to get clients that would try to handle their own legal problems. And there's an old saying in law, he who represents himself in a court of law has a fool for a lawyer and a jackass for a client. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like saying, oh, well, my appendix needs to come out. Think I'll do it myself. Give me the can opener. Okay. You don't want to do that. You need a professional who's objective, clear-minded, and will give you the advice that you need to hear, not what you think you want to hear. So this whole thing about biting off a piece bigger than you can chew, that may be your decision that you're wondering, well, should I see a lawyer or not? I'm going to say definitely.
And you're not available, right?
Absolutely not. It's so funny because people are always like, Mark, remember, I don't know if you ever saw The Godfather 3, where Al Pacino's like, every time I think about it, drags me back in. So many people want me to be back in the courtroom, but and I can't say that I didn't enjoy my tenure as a trial attorney, but what I'm supposed to be doing is what I'm doing now. My job is to facilitate communication between people in this world and those on the other side. And my background as an attorney is because of the importance of evidence. I'm an evidential medium. I have to bring forth pieces of information, things that I simply can't know about you, because those pieces of information are how we validate the authenticity of the contact and why what's being transmitted to you is so relevant and important. But definitely, you want to get an attorney in your area that specializes in that type of law. It's probably going to be commercial litigation, business law, something along those lines if it has to deal with a debt. In other words, you don't go to a divorce lawyer if you have a personal injury case.
Oh, right. Gotcha. I understand that. Okay. It was so funny because when you were talking to everybody else, that gray cat, I was like, oh yeah, I got that gray cat. Oh, carrot cake. That was my son's favorite. And, it was so funny because I kept picking up, and I was going to ask you, can spirits?
I know exactly what you're going to ask. You're going to say that even though I was doing a reading for someone else, could those spirits possibly be for me? Absolutely. Because see, I'm like a radio station. I've opened up my brain to higher frequencies. It's not like spirits show up one at a time and go, hello, caller number one, I'm your spirit. They come in a group. Also, this is what I have termed, and I've coined the phrase, collective consciousness communication. Spirits are never alone. They're pure energy, and they're linked to other spirits that are linked to other spirits that are linked to other spirits. They know that Dr. Pat and I are doing this show, okay? They know or knew and are aware that all these callers are going to call in, so all those spirits are here. So I may be doing a reading for caller number 2, and we're getting information for that caller, but then there's some things in that reading that are resonating with you. Why? Because your spirits are with those spirits. And that's why we're picking up. And so the kitty and the carrot cake are making sense. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. That's I'm giving you the whiz bang boom crash course in collective consciousness communication. I write about that in my book, Evidence of Eternity. And in the book that I just finished writing the manuscript for, I go even deeper into collective consciousness communication.
Oh, that's... Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. And Pat, I really appreciate the part about numerology because I've never really been bothered by, Friday the 13th.
Right.
So I thought, right? And so I'm listening and going, now my subconscious is fully aware of that. But yet I was going, hey, make this positive. You're a number 1 in numerology. Tomorrow's a 1 day. Let's, make something positive happen tomorrow. Let's, really...
Yeah, let me tell you this. If there was going to be a day where you start to troll for an attorney, right? When you start to look, when you go online, even one of these free legal places. So there are 2 things that I want to leave you with about tomorrow, right?
Okay.
One is whenever it comes to a financial deal, the first thing I do is I go on Experian, like some kind of credit, whatever these people are, and I check to see, oopsie, right? What is it? Has the thing hit there? That doesn't cost you much at all to do that. If you haven't gotten a credit report, remember, tomorrow is like a 1 day, right? Tomorrow, that's going to be your day to step out in safety and start to look, to start to get out there and say, oh, well, this person could help me. Oh, it's this thing. Here's the thing I want to say to you when it comes to money. All right. And I know there are callers waiting, so I'm going to make it short. We're talking about foe and fear and fright. And what I want to say is your energy right now and where you are, your energy is clean. You'll be able to handle this tomorrow. You're going to go to bed tonight. Your head's going to hit the pillow and you're going to be, oh, I can exhale. You feel me on this?
Yeah.
That's it. That's your mission. That's my big tip for you. Tonight, you got to go to bed, trust, and say, yeah, the universe has got this for me. God's got this for me, whatever you believe in. You've got this for me. And you're going to sleep tonight better than you've ever done before because tomorrow, everything will fall into place for you because of the action you're going to take, okay?
Wow. I appreciate that, Pat.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
having a lot of anxiety over this.
I
and
know. I got it. I'm telling you, I know the money thing. Believe me. I know the vibe of that, but your energy shifted immediately. And with Mark's help, right? And some practical things tomorrow. Make sure you eat breakfast though. Before you do any kind of money stuff, let me just say, do not do it on an empty stomach.
Yeah, low blood sugar and
Oh
financial
boy.
problems
Yeah,
do
money,
not
low blood.
mix.
Oh my gosh. Money and low blood sugar. Look out, sister.
Yeah, that's a bad combo.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And if you had a ping pong table, I'd tell you go hit the ping pong ball. All right. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling in. Hey, I think we got to keep rolling on the phones here. I'm hoping we can get these folks in. TJ, what do we have? Do we have Jana? Who do we have?
Terry, are you on?
Yes.
Hey,
Hi,
Terry.
Terry.
Welcome to Dr. Pat and Mark Anthony.
I know you forgot, right, TJ?
Thank you so much.
I'm just kidding. Hey, how can we help you?
Hi, Dr. Pat. Hi, Mark.
How are you?
Good. I had a question for Mark. I've been getting a lot of psychic or bringing to my attention nudges about ancestors lately.
Okay.
Ones that I didn't know, and I just wanted you to give me a read on that.
Okay, so let's see who's been knocking on your psychic door if they want to come through. Okay, getting somebody connected to you on your father's side of the family, at least 2 generations back. So this would be actually, this is going to be back on the great-grandparent level is what I'm getting. And I've got 14 people. Wow, 14 people. Okay. All right, let's just get one of them to talk to you. All right, and this gentleman came through, and what I'm getting with him is it feels like there was some definite issues with his mental sanity and clarity. And does that make any sense to you? Is there a part of the family?
I'm not surprised.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. Well,
we have a tendency to be irreverent in my family.
All right. So we got this guy coming through that feels like he's on the great-grandparent level. And I see like a lot of rage, a lot of anger, like he would come unglued very, very easily. Okay. And hold on. Are you actually working on genealogy? And the reason that I'm asking this is he's talking about genealogy. And he's talking about
yes.
Yeah, he's talking about the World War I to 1922 era. Is there some block of information you're looking for in that time frame?
I have just been getting a lot of messages from the different sites. Oh, we found ancestors that were in 1812 war or whatever. So yes, it's a mishmash, and I'm just noticing that
my question. Hold on, let me go back. My question is: World War I would be 1914 to 1922, because that's what the spirits are talking about. That would be pretty much World War I and a couple of years in its aftermath. Does that make any sense to you?
No, not specifically.
Okay. Hold on. Wow, there was some major shakeup in your family, like your family getting ripped apart, or like a major division or something in the family in that particular era. Do you know if any of your relatives may have come over from Europe in that time frame?
From what I have traced, they were all here long ago before that. But I can tell you there was a reversal of fortune. Part of my family had vast ranch holdings. They sold to the cavalry, and then the cavalry disappeared, and they didn't recover from that. So I don't know.
Okay, this is the type of thing that's going to require a lot more time than what we've got here. Also, because you're not able to verify any of the facts. I don't want to take up time on the show with I don't know, and I'm not being critical. But the thing is, with evidential mediumship, we need to be able to verify that. Long story short, we got a guy coming back in the great-grandparent level in the World War I, post-World War War era, like between 1914 1922, saying that there was a big shakeup, a big division, and it's like your family split into two factions on that side of the family, which is through your paternal lineage. So I'm going to leave that with you.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, I will look into that.
Okay, great.
Good.
Yes.
Good. And you know what? Call in
Thank
next
you.
week. Give us an update because we don't like to be left
Yes.
hanging either. You know, we know where
Yes.
Mark's going with this, but this is going to be exciting for you.
Thank you so much. I will look into it.
You bet.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Terry.
Yeah, awesome.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right. I think we got room for one more, or at least to say hi.
Yeah, do we want to take Jana from South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina. That's where my mama was born. Hi, Jana.
Jana, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi,
Mark.
how are
Hi,
you?
Doctor. I'm great. Thank you for taking my call. I'm actually reading your book, Evidence of Eternity, right now, Mark.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Wow.
Yeah, I met you briefly in Seattle at the IAMS conference, the the International Association of Near-Death Studies.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm interested, of course, if anybody wants to come through, but in particular, my best friend died in March, and I sure would love to connect with her. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to is this a female? Because all of a sudden, as soon as you said my best friend, I got a female energy coming in. And I know this could sound odd, but I keep hearing Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Everywhere that Mary went, her lamb was sure to go. What the heck? Okay.
I don't know. We did have a song that we used to sing.
Right, but I'm not thinking it was Mary Had a Little Lamb. Now, the thing is, though, this could mean a number of things. When I get the name Mary, it could be the variation like Mary, Marie, Marilyn, Margaret, Marianne, because those all stem from the name Miriam in the Old Testament. Okay, so they're all variations essentially on the name Mary. It could also mean a significance between you and her with the month of May. So that could be a birth, death, anniversary, or event connected you or her within the month of May. Does any of that make sense to you?
Well, it might be my mother. Her name is Marion.
Okay. All right. Your mom's name was Mary. All right. Hold on.
Marion.
Okay. Hold on. Stand by. Was she Catholic?
Yes.
Okay, because somebody's handed me a rosary, and rosaries, that's a pretty Catholic symbol. So we got your mom here. We got your friend as well, but your mom wants to get a message through to you. And she said, it's Novocaine time, Novocaine time. What's going on with your teeth? What's going on with your teeth, Jenna? There's something going on with your teeth. And what it is, your mom is projecting to me, I'm getting the sensitivity, like when I bite down, I'm getting like sensitivity, and I'm tasting that, I don't want to give the brand name, but those toothpaste for sensitive teeth. Are you having a sensitivity? Yeah. Okay, you are. And what are we doing about this, Jana? Okay, the word nothing comes to mind. Okay, what I'm getting at here, or rather what your mother is getting at here, is you need to take care of this. You need to get in, you need to make a dental appointment, because the thing is, it's deepening, it's becoming more serious. And so just, ignoring it or using the sensitive teeth, that is not dealing with the root cause. And so your mom is coming through not to be critical or judgmental, but here to help you because she loves you. Okay. And you're
duly noted.
Okay. Hey, did your friend ever used to imbibe in, shall we say, weed?
Yeah.
Okay, because someone just blew what smells to me like weed. All over. So I think that's her way of saying I'm laughing, but it's we're talking to your mom, all of a sudden pot smoke or weed or whatever you want to call it, just wafted through my olfactory senses in my brain.
Oh my gosh.
And she's being hilarious. She's like, groovy, baby.
Yeah.
So she's fine. She loves you like a sister, and she wants you to know that. So I'll leave that with you.
Mm. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you. You know, with all the talk about the weed. Yeah, thank you. And we'll be back next week. Mark, thank you. With all the talk about the weed, and then we're talking about the carrot cake. I mean, I'm feeling like I could pretty much eat a refrigerator right now. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have a nice mixed green salad. Boy, that really hits the sugar spot.
I'm going to have keto ice cream. I'm telling you right now. Mark Anthony, I'm Dr. Pat. Mark, what a great show. Thank you so much for everything. And we will be back next week on The Psychic and the Doc. And that is 4 p.m. Pacific time for those of you out there, right on transformationtalkradio.com. But go over to facebook.com// Transformation Talk Radio. Just spell that out and you're going to be able to see us, right? You got to chat with us. Mark, anything you want to say to wrap it up?
Yeah, please visit my website, evidenceofeternity.com. Sign up for my newsletter. You can order my books. And if you sign up for my newsletter, it'll keep you up to date on the upcoming episodes of The Psychic and the Doc. Every Thursday, we're going to be helping you find solutions, whether it's from this side or the other side. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Many blessings. And hey, watch out. It's Friday the 13th. It just may be your lucky day.
And don't forget, it's a number one day, and it might be your lucky day. Going to buy a lottery ticket. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.